microphone is going to sound quality different. I lost my microphone somewhere in this car. I had to order another one, so it is what it is. It's there at home right now, so the microphone is at home. So, but yeah, I want to talk about Devin Booker, and not just Booker, just in general. I mean, just the risk of going in for a Booker, a Giannis, any of those names that you're going to give up a lot of capital for. And a lot of those names that you make synonymous, like Booker or Giannis for the Pistons, also the situation of not only if you put in a lot of capital, you're going to pay them out a lot of money. You know, and it's like, oh, you know, it's a great fit. And yeah, a lot of them are great fits. Booker's a great fit. Giannis, the crazy thing about a Giannis or somebody like a Giannis is like, okay, I can't put Giannis and Asar and Duran out there together, you know, because of the lack of shooting. Somebody got to develop a jump shot. So that's the danger of that. But with Booker, you know, you have to he has to want to leave. He has to want to leave the Phoenix Suns, and you have to make it enticing for Matt Asheba to get rid of him because he really loves Devin Booker and he makes $75 million a year. So obviously that's probably going to X you out from drafting from they got a Raising Cane's? Man, nobody out here fucking fooling, my nigga. Nobody got a bunch of shit that don't nobody else got in general. So they open up a Raising Cane's. They got a Kava right here, a Raising Cane's right here, right? Hold on. They got a Houston Hot Chicken. I don't even know where is another Houston Hot Chicken right here. They got a Shake Shack where it's a couple one around the corner in Northville. You know, like, bro, nobody is fooling with the food joints, for sure. Nobody is fooling with the food joints. They are fooling with the food joint. Only Cheesecake Factory, they fooling. But back to the topic at hand. So when you make moves like this, how do you, like, it's kind of like LeBron and the Big Three. How do you support them? And LeBron and them, and we make a Big Three, how do you support, let's just talk about a Devin Booker. It's easier to support Devin because he can be a backup ball handler, he can be a primary ball handler, he can be a scorer. You know, he can do a lot of things for the Pistons, right? He can shoot, but also how do you support that? Assuming you keep Asar Thompson, Cade Cunningham. At that price point, you're probably not keeping Jalen Duran. So, I mean, then again, you know, Booker doesn't really limit you from what you could do at the 5. So, you can get a guy that can shoot. You can get a guy that can shoot or just do a Duran. Or if you can find a way to keep Duran at that 5, you're fine with that. And then it does, getting a Booker, the crazy thing about a Booker, it does limit you to what you could do at the 4, because obviously you're probably going to give up draft compensation this year. You can't keep Yaxel. You're probably going to not have enough money or capital to get Lauri Markkanen, Trey Murphy. So can you swing a guy like Bobby Portis to help Tobias Harris? Can you find somebody else to man that position? Obviously shoot, defend, do those things. So it's like you putting your eggs in a Giannis or a Booker basket, right? And whoever else you put in that category, that's going to cost a lot of money. Like that type of money, over $50 million for multiple years, 55, 60, really around 55 or 60 multiple years. And it's going to take a lot of capital, draft capital, a lot of player capital, exceptions to whatever it may be to get this guy. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, how do you build around that when you can say, guess what? I can give up a little bit of something, get Yaxel, get a Portis or bring back a Tobias Harris, had him in the 4 position. You know, I can get a Kobe White, or I can get a Kyrie or Zach LaVine for the low. Hope Beasley come back. You know, or get a or get a Norman Powell or something like that in the combination of these guys, and we can fill a team out around Cade and Duran and Asar. Or maybe I make that kind of mid-major move compared to Giannis and Booker and get Trey Murphy, get Lauri Markkanen, get somebody like that. get a Powell, Kobe White next to K, get somebody off the bench, hopefully Beasley come back, get a shooter or two, do something like kind of mid-major like that. Roll the dice on the Kyrie. I mean, when you can put Kawhi in that category with Giannis and Booker because it's a high risk. If Kawhi don't work out for you, he get injured, man, you're going to give up a lot of capital, a lot of money, a lot of draft for Kawhi Leonard. So you're talking about Giannis, Booker, Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't limit you that much. He can handle the ball, distribute, score, shoot, defend. There's no weak point. But you're going to lose a lot of capital. You're going to need to fill in around him. Shooting that ain't as imperative as it is when you add Giannis. You know what I'm saying? So in the perfect world, if you can keep Duren out of those deals and sign Duren, you can keep Duren, Kawhi, Duren, Devin Booker. Or do you go a little bit cheaper, the mid-major route, Kyrie, risk it, or do you go out there and try to get a Max Christie shooter, or you try to go out there and get a lively to help out if you lose Duren, or do you go out there and do a Trey Murphy and Laurie market it? I mean, do you go out there and just fill out the roster with a Yaxel, Tobias, or Bobby Porter somewhere like that, with Yaxel, somebody helping them in that position, and then you get a Powell, a White, and then you get somebody off the bench that can give you a shot with a. So do you put a couple smaller moves behind these guys? That's the question. Do you put a couple smaller moves, and say we're gonna fill out a team? We're gonna keep Duren. We're gonna keep Vassar. We'll try to move up and get a guy like Yaxel, right? We'll try to get a Powell or a Kobe White or get a Monk with two of those, or bring back a Beasley. And say, yeah, we're going to a season with, Tobias, Duren, Vassar, Powell, or Kobe White with Cade, and, keep dunking on the bench, and, stuff, hope Beasley come back or get a Monk and try to just fill it out and not do something major and do it in strength of numbers. Or you go out there and try to get a star and try to hope that you can, put enough pieces around there. The crazy thing about going Booker, Giannis, Kawhi, if somebody get injured at a critical time in the playoffs, is your team equipped like OKC to be able to take that blow where Jalen Williams is out, and y'all still can win basketball games? They still got a lot of really good basketball players, and the Pistons got a lot of really good basketball players. The difference between them and the OKC Thunder is that Jalen Williams is a flat-out, bona fide second. He's like the Scottie Pippen right now. He can defend. He can score. He's the perfect number 2 option to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Don't need the ball, or you give him the ball and he can ride. You can ride him to some wins. I feel like they got a Shat Holmgren like Cade Cunningham. And Jalen Duren. You got a good star in SGA and Cade. You're just missing Jalen Williams. And can you trust and say, you know what? I probably do need a little bit more shooting at the 4, or a potential flat out, guy like Yaxel, and I can keep Tobias and Yaxel. Tobias can teach him how to be him, and then I can get a Kobe White, a Powell, hope a Monk, get 2 of them, or hope a Beasley come back and get 1 of them, and say next year, okay, cool. Kind of, if you can find a Max Christie shooter type, you add another shooter. Me personally, I'm amongst that move, because it's hard to trust the attrition of today's athlete unless they have a history of not getting injured. There's a cute puppy game on going up. So I'd rather just say, you know what? Let me get 3 or 4 guys, fill out the roster, not give up a bunch of draft capital, keep my guys together. I know we got. Let me support them with a couple guys that can shoot, a couple guys that can score, and let me support them on that. I'd rather go that route than say Kawhi or Booker. I think the Pistons got years. They got years left. They got years left. A lot of time left, rather than say, let's go for it right now, and you trade some of these guys, and you mess up the chemistry, or you trade some of these guys and it don't work. Now you can keep some of these guys, and in the second round could be your ceiling too, and they can drop in value. But if me personally, I like the idea of getting Yaxu and supporting him with Tobias Harris and and after that you get a Monk or a Kobe or Monk off the bench, and Kobe White or Powell next to Cade, and find another shooter. You can get a Christie or somebody that can really shoot the blood off the ball and filling it out that way. Obviously, you're gonna lose some people. And then another thing is, even if you keep Duren, do you look to find a stretch five, a bigger guy that can stretch it out and play the five? So it's going to be interesting, bro. It's going to be interesting. So very, very interesting. So I look forward to seeing, how they fill it out. But just me doing it the safe way, I would, my way would just fill it out with solid guys at Yaxel. If I can get a Powell or Kobe White next to K, I can get Brad Beasley off the bench. Or maybe I can get my hands on Monk, and I can give me another shooter with those guys. I mean, I'm cool with that. But that's just my opinion on it. Let me know what you think. Sorry for the mic quality. Hit the link in the description. Find me everywhere. Find me everywhere. Peace.